That's the moment the Party for Socialism and Liberation says was inaudible in the critical incident video showing the police shooting that killed Adam Sykes.
Today we tell Mike Brown and the ruling class that we won't be divided. We've seen these tricks before. Immigrants are not dangerous. Capitalism is.
Welcome to Naptown People's Radio, a weekly podcast brought to you by the Indianapolis branch of the Party for Socialism and Liberation. I'm your host, Dani Abdullah, and I'm joined by my comrade and co-host,
Derek Ford.
We're here to guide you through the pressing issues facing Indianapolis from the perspective of our people, not our oppressors. And as organizers involved in these issues, we're not just talking about the news, we're making it happen. So on today's episode, we're going to dig back into the history and origins of May Day, also known as International Workers' Day. Derek said this in our last episode, but, May Day originated in the United States, which is, a little more than ironic because, it's not widely celebrated by the country that it, kind of originated in, unless it's by the people, right? Which is really not to go off on a tangent or anything, but that's where it's at. It's supposed to be celebrated by the people because it's for the people. I know I was celebrating Juneteenth years and years before it became a holiday. I was about to cuss. Before it became a nationally recognized holiday. And now we have corporations making money off of Juneteenth. So it's not necessarily
they're so
what I
innovative.
Yeah.
The commercials,
Yes. It's a little gross. I'm still going to celebrate Juneteenth. Just I'm always going to celebrate May Day. Yeah. Right.
But it's a rule of thumb. Yeah. If it's for the people do it.
Exactly. So I don't need, we don't need the United States to recognize it as a holiday for it to be a holiday. So, yeah. But before we get into the origins of May Day, let's get into the Naptown Breakdown. So what's going on this week?
All right. Well, because we are doing the final segment in this series on May Day, I wanted to keep this one brief, but still update listeners on stories that we've been following. So the first one is that the Indiana Department of Correction has agreed to pay over $1.2 million to settle quote-unquote allegations that the Miami Correctional Facility officials abused inmates by keeping them in dark cells for months, dank cells with wires hanging that cause electrocutions. And it was filed in 2021. So, of course, this took years of the ACLU represented the defendants or the plaintiffs in this case. And just the fact that the state would fight this tells you everything you need to know about the state, right?
And I mean, how is it an allegation when there's literally people who have been fried to death?
Yeah.
How is that an allegation? Obviously that's legal jargon and, whatever, but that's wild. Allegedly this happened. People are dead.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Well, allegedly dead.
Okay. Allegedly dead. Jeez.
We don't want to get sued,
Okay. Allegedly dead.
All right.
Okay.
And for those of you who've been listening and staying up to date with the news, actually the mainstream news now even, after we worked with the family of Jamar and Lamonte Thomas on breaking their case wide open and showing the complete inconsistency, incoherency, contradictory nature of the IMPD's report as to why they arrested these two black men who were unarmed and took the word of a white man named Christopher Burnell. Again, that's Christopher Burnell, who was walking around downtown and admitted to lifting up his, shirt, exposing his gun and saying, "I don't throw hands. I'll kill any mother, effer." They didn't take him into questioning. They noticed his belt and the holster, and that was made note of before they transferred him to give a statement, not to central booking. And so what I want to note though is that this happened. And then shortly thereafter, the next two IMPD acts of terror, abuse, right? The media actually accompanied it with like a counter narrative, right? So, which is, I mean, the news is supposed to be fair and balanced, you know?
Supposed to be.
What is why don't you interview the mom of the kid the cops killed, right?
Yeah.
Dalen Brewer in Riverside, right? The IMPD said that he was, going to shoot them, and camera footage came out and was like, nope. And then there was also an incident of a 67-year-old man who the IMPD said was trying to attack his neighbor. There were like kids involved. He was shooting an air gun out the window to, at birds, right?
Oh, yeah.
An air gun is not a weapon in Indiana.
Yeah.
I learned. So he wasn't even doing
Indiana, baby.
And so then basically the cops shoot him in the stomach, and then he runs to the cops because like, somebody shot me, help me, not realizing what had just happened. Yeah, can you believe that? How sad that is? But what I did want to note is that both of those were like, when they actually came to the people's consciousness, that was all packaged together. So we didn't get just the police for a month and a month and a month and a month, and then the people, we got both, like, both sides really.
Yeah.
So I consider that a victory.
I was going to say that is a victory. A win is a win, baby. But like, that's how it should always be, right? Like why me personally, I don't want to hear what IMPD has to say at all. But like, okay, sure. Put it out there. If for nothing else, just so I can see what the audacity is today. But yeah, that's how it should always be. I want to hear what did the victims have to say, or their families, if, for whatever reason, the victims cannot speak.
Are you interested in hearing what the Marion County Prosecutor's Office had to say?
Oh, man, I never want to hear what Ryan Mears has to say.
I have a feeling you're going to like this one.
Okay, all right. Okay.
So after we had the press conference here, he was forced to respond, and he said, quote, the investigation is, quote, still in its early stages, end quote. Quote, no final determinations have been made regarding the culpability of any individuals involved, end quote. He said that as Lamonte Thomas faces a jury trial on July 13th. And so you're still in this, what? You don't know what you're talking about. And the other thing is Lamonte told us that he, when he was booked, he had $315 in his pocket.
Yeah.
And when he was released, that $315 went with him, which if it was a burglary, usually you like.
Wouldn't you take the money?
I would say to ask the question is to answer it.
My God.
But Dani just threw that back in my face yesterday, and I realized how annoying it is. So I'm actually going to try to stop saying it. And then finally, we have to talk about very quickly.
My God, you sound so excited.
Yeah. The voice of the predator, Osili, who is running for mayor. And we just wanted to remind our listeners that, this is the man who stood by and enforced Hogsett and his regime's culture and atmosphere of misogyny, of sexual assault and violence against women, of retaliatory attacks. This is a man who ordered the sheriffs to remove the victims from city county council, and so that man is the voice of anything. I mean, shit.
Yeah,
I'm not supposed to swear in here, but shit, that dude is just a spineless. I won't swear anymore in here.
There we go. Yeah. No, I mean, every time this guy talks, I'm just like, first off, you have no PR training at all, which I mean, I don't either, but I'm like a regular person.
And you can talk.
And I can speak, yes. But I'm just like, how are you the voice of anything? Like, every time you talk, I'm like, what is going on here? Why would you say that? You know, and so most recently, you know, if you live here in the city, you may have already seen this, right? He's calling data centers like infrastructure, like necessary infrastructure. And like the people of Indianapolis want data centers, which like I have not talked to anyone who lives here, regardless of like how they vote. I have not talked to anyone who lives here who wants a data center.
Yeah.
Like, and there's so many that they keep trying to like pop up. And so for him to say that is wild. And then I just learned that apparently he's like, oh no, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
Which is
he tried to walk that one back once he was like, oh wait.
What is going on? How can the people of Indianapolis trust you to lead and you don't even know what you're saying? Literally, you don't even know what you're saying. You're misrepresenting us. You are a predator, or you're at least, I mean, you are a predator, but you're also like backing up other predators. And when asked, hey, why'd you do that? You're like, oh, I'm not going to answer that question. Okay, so then like, what are you doing here? What are you here for?
Why do you have a voice if you're not using it? Right.
Literally.
In that instance. And
literally.
What I would like to know, if VOP Osili is your voice and you are the people, please write to us, producer at naptownpeoplesradio.com.
I want to.
Because I would love to know if there is a single person in the city other than his like rich friends who consider him their voice.
I mean, do they even rock with him?
Yeah. We should do a survey. Like, straight up on the street. And just be like, do you think that VOP obviously like represents you? Yeah. Most people would be like, who the hell is that?
I was just thinking that. I was like, I feel like people be like, I don't even know who that is. You know, like, we should actually, like, we should do that. Like, no joke. We should just like bring our little microphones and be like, do you feel like VOP Osili in his district?
Yeah.
And be like, people of Hallville do not rock with VOP Osili, which is where he represents, you know. Misrepresents. Thank you. So yeah, every time this guy opens his mouth, I'm just like,
here we go.
What you gonna say this time, Osili? Samuel? Like, you gotta.
I can't believe he gave himself that name too.
That's
I mean, when you told me that, I was like, oh my God, that's like being like, hi guys, I'm like,
no, like
the leader here.
Legit, like if you. Obviously, I don't know where listeners are from. I know we have listeners from all over. I was looking today and I was like, we got listeners in Ireland. Shout out Ireland, like, and
Liberation
Pakistan. Now. Like, I was like, oh my gosh. But like, I don't know anywhere in the world where like it's cool to give yourself a nickname. Yeah. Like, you don't give yourself a nickname. Like, I met these kids the other. I say kids, but they're like in their 20s. But I met these kids the other day, and they like wanted my like Instagram, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's iconic. It's iconic Ivy with a K, whatever. And I was like, I did not give myself that name, right? Like, that is my line name, right? Like, somebody had to give me that. Like, what do I look like going around like, yeah, my name is Iconic Ivy, and I named myself that, like, right? Like, that's wild. You're a loser.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, basically.
What are you doing? I'm the voice of the people. I'm the voice of progress.
Yeah.
And you named yourself that? Who told you that?
Yeah.
Who told you that?
Who told you could do that? Like, what gives you the right? Well, as always, Dani, in the enlightening discussion, I feel like I learned a lot more, truthfully, and I got more talking points, most importantly, to when I'm, out there agitating. So, thank you. So that's it for this week's Naptown Breakdown. After a short break, we'll be right back.
Hey everybody, my name is Cecilia and I'm a volunteer at the Indie Liberation Center. If you visited the center during the Indie Book Crawl, we have exciting new book selections for you to check out. Whether you're an organizer, engaged community member, or just a lover of really great books, we have something for everybody. We just got In Exile and Pride by Eli Clare, Perfect Victims by Mohammed Al-Kurd, and The Wretched of the Earth by Frantz Fanon. While you're here, also come check out our new poster series for May Day and Earth Day, or see the selection online with everything else at IndieLiberationStore.com.
Okay, and welcome back to Naptown People's Radio. So We discussed how May Day was started here in the United States, and this specifically started in Chicago, where, union workers and laborers, socialists, anarchists were working together, as we should be doing today, working together to try to get, some a decent life, honestly, which is still, it's been over 100 years, right? That was 1885, and people are still today working to just live decent lives. And so, the people of that time were working just to get 8-hour days. It was normal for people to work, 10-hour days, maybe 12, 15-hour days at that time. Sometimes even depending on what shift you worked, some people will work 24-hour days, right? And it's really because of their sacrifices that we have May Day. And when I say sacrifices, I don't just mean going to protests and going to rallies and organizing, which obviously is a sacrifice, but I'm thinking about the Haymarket martyrs, who were 8 individuals who were anarchists. Can nobody ever tell me that I be talking crap about anarchists, but who were anarchists and were framed. Listeners should look it up. But it's pretty widely accepted that they were framed. And it was really a railroading of trying to get the people to what is the word? To be demoralized. And so these 8 martyrs were convicted and hanged. Hanged. Thank you. And hanged, and for their participation in this movement. And there, no one. We never want anyone to die for the movement, but that often happens. Their sacrifice and the sacrifice of everyone who was a part of that movement is why we have 8-hour days now, right? Even though it did demoralize some people, we now have 8-hour days. We now have we have more rights than we did in 1885 because of those people. But still, it's that was over 100 years ago, right? I don't know anybody who was alive in 1885. I don't know. I doubt Derek knows anybody who was alive in 1885.
Up until a couple months ago, I did.
Did you? That's wild.
No.
There's no way. Your grandmother was not alive in 1885. I was your grandmother was not alive in 1885. Close.
She's old.
Close.
She's old.
Close, though.
Over 100 years.
Close. But none of us know any of the revolutionaries that were the originators of this, but we are still benefiting from their sacrifices. And it's really interesting because it wasn't really until there's still been movements and changes, but it really wasn't until 20 years ago where the workers' movement kind of picked back up. And so, of course, it's important to understand our origins and where we come from. But I'm also curious, how did we get here today? And where did this resurgence come from is where I would like to get to in this segment.
Okay. It's important, of course, to remember, I think, because there's 2 things that the state always deploys when the movement is threatening. One is polemics against violence, and the other is acts of violence. Mm-hmm. And so, and basically a Fed threw a bomb into the gathering. Yeah. And that's what the, 8 Haymarket martyrs were, hanged for. So we're talking about the 1880s in the U.S., right? Yes. And so what period is that immediately following?
I mean, for Black people, it's only 20-something years. Actually, 20. Yeah, I think it's actually 20 years since, the Emancipation Proclamation. So, at least on paper, enslaved Africans are no longer enslaved at this point, right? Which is a huge, I don't know if y'all care about Black people who are listening, but that's kind of a big deal, you know?
Absolutely. Capitalism in that sense was progressive over slavery.
Yes.
Right. And of course we know how they tried it, Reconstruction was ultimately overthrown, but it was a tide of militancy, and there was like just massive development, and the capitalist class amassed huge fortunes, and they did so all at the expense of the workers.
Yeah.
And the conditions were brutal, as you were talking about earlier, people, but also children were working these shifts.
Yeah.
And as you're digging yourself deeper and deeper into the mines, you can see your boss's house getting taller and taller on the top of the hill. It's not like they had any, elaborate facade to, present, right?
Yeah.
Justification. And so there were significant struggles by organizations to reduce the workday throughout the 1800s. And it was after the Civil War that the struggle for an 8-hour workday picked up steam. The first fruit of the Civil War was 8-hour agitation, wrote Karl Marx at the time. And the National Labor Union was the first national labor association formed after the Civil War, outlined its priorities for the period, including giving all free laborers in this country the passing of a law which shall determine 8 hours to be the normal working day. And that's actually how Marx concludes like his militant denouncement of capitalism in Capital with the workers must band their heads together and call for an almighty, powerful 10-hour workday. And it's just really interesting to, that's obviously not how the only thing he calls for, but yeah. So the union at the time was more like petitioning, calling government, representatives or whatever. And, but those who were influenced by Marxism and with more revolutionary approaches, those individuals started to create formations in the 1880s. And so it actually, May Day became internationally recognized at what's known as the first Congress of the Second International. So the First International was, a grouping, a hodgepodge of all, radical groups in Europe that was disbanded after the Paris Commune. It wasn't, and there were, decades of repression. It was actually the third meeting. There were two previous ones. Congress held in 1881, another in 1886. But the one in 1889 in Paris, in July, they passed a resolution, and I'll read it. A great international rally is to be organized for a specified date in such a way that at the same time in all countries and in all cities on a previously agreed day, the workers demand of the public authorities that the working day be fixed at 8 hours and carry out the other resolutions of the International Congress of Paris. Given the fact that such a rally has already been fixed for the 1st of May, 1890 by the American Federation of Labor at its December 1888 Congress in St. Louis, this date will be adopted for the international rally. The workers of various nations will implement the rally in the manner prescribed for them by the conditions in their country. The following so they adopted that resolution. So it's in 1890 that it becomes international.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then why does it get buried? And in fact, interestingly, I was just reading a piece by Eric Foner, the great historian, and he's talking about how in 1955, the editor of The Guardian sends the editor of People's Weekly, the Communist Party USA, a message that's like, hey, we hear that May Day started in the U.S. Is there any validation to this? And if so, can you send it to us? And indeed, he did.
Wow.
But it was over there. They were like, yeah, we heard, but we don't know. Why would it start over there? That's so weird, right? Because we, of course, have Labor Day in September, which is a day specifically so that we don't celebrate with the rest of our brothers and sisters and, comrades throughout the world.
Absolutely.
Who are celebrating May Day. But we will be this year, for sure. So I think that there were a series of general strikes and, to bring it up to the present, really what it was the immigrant rights movement, the historic immigrant rights movement that began in really 2005 and 2006, So this is the 20th anniversary. They brought it back into popular culture.
Yeah.
So it's not just like the, communists celebrating it, right? It's actually everyday working class people.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so like, April 10, 2006, millions of immigrants, right, took to the streets across the United States in one of like the largest protests in modern history. I think that's still true, right? I think to this day, it's still one of like the largest protests in modern history. And so, families, students, entire communities, we're marching for dignity and legalization, rejecting the criminalization of immigrants. And the demonstrations are part of this mass movement that erupted in response to, I think you could say, draconian proposals. I feel like that's probably a nice way to put it. And it was really like this proposed bill of Sensenbrenner, the Sensenbrenner bill, which was, when I was reading about it, I was telling Derek, I was like, this feels like Nazi Germany, like this bill. And so 2006, like I was pretty young in 2006, and so this was not necessarily something that was on my mind, although I feel like it should have been. But, it was a bill that would have turned undocumented immigrants and even those who helped them into criminals. Instead of backing down, though, millions organized, marched, and showed the country, the collective power of, immigrant communities. And so for those who maybe are younger than me, or maybe just weren't, were not aware of what the Sensenbrenner bill was. So it was really a way to like threaten, criminalize undocumented immigrants. And it was sponsored by Wisconsin Republican and chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, James Sensenbrenner. And it would automatically categorize all undocumented workers in the United States as felons. So this was subject to imprisonment and deportation. So legal residents would also be at risk, which is very similar to what it looks like right now, right? 20 years later, and it still looks very similarly to this, right? Like we have ICE literally capturing, kidnapping people just because they are brown or because they have an accent, or, other, I'm not supposed to cuss on here, other dumb things, right? And so this bill categorized all undocumented workers in the United States as felons, and it would even retroactively label people as aggravated felons if, for some reason, maybe they did have like a speeding ticket or something, right? Something like ridiculous on their record, right? And so it would pour more money into border patrols and police, and authorize local police to enforce federal immigration laws that were now carried out only by federal agents. And it gets, that's already scary enough, but it gets even more scarier when you learn more about it, because the bill would also like require all businesses to document employees' legal status, and there would be felony charges and jail time for undocumented immigrants. Under the Sensenbrenner bill, anyone who pays, feeds, houses, knows an undocumented immigrant was subject to face felony charges, subject to get jail time. If your family was somebody who's undocumented, you are liable under this bill. You are liable to get jail time as well. And so obviously, like, that's ridiculous, right? Like that's wild. I'm like, man, we're just like Anne Frank up in here. Like, I can't even know an undocumented immigrant.
Yeah. That's actual fascism.
That's literally fascist. There are definitely some elements today of like, maybe fascism light. But like for this to literally be a law, or, it was a proposed law, right? Like for this to literally be proposed and for this to, and I believe
like
actually,
make it to the floor.
Yeah. The Sensenbrenner bill did pass House in December of 2006 or 2005. And so like there are people, like this is just 20 years ago, right? Like this is not 1885, right? This is just 20 years ago. So like, I don't know what Sensenbrenner is doing now. Probably, killing dogs or something. Allegedly. Because I don't want anybody to sue me.
Dani got a dog, by the way.
I did get a dog.
Huey P.
Huey P. He's so cute. He's so cute. I love him.
And Sensenbrenner is just the type of person that would kill any dog.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like that. Like that's the vibe. That's the vibe I'm getting.
I mean,
like
I feel like that's well grounded.
If you even know an undocumented,
if you even know Sensenbrenner, I feel like you're the type of person that would kill a dog.
I feel like that's fair to say.
All right.
I feel like that's fair.
Listen to us agreeing. I'm just kidding.
I feel like we agree a lot, actually. It's kind of scary. It actually sometimes irritates me when we do agree. I'm like, God damn it. But like, again, this is just 20 years ago. So it makes sense that that at this point, people were like, yeah, we literally cannot live under, we can't live under this, right? Like this is literally fascism. Cannot live under these circumstances. And so the April 10th protests really helped build the momentum toward the historic Day Without an Immigrant general strike on May 1st, which International Workers' Day. And so, on that day, workers across the country walked out of their jobs, students left classrooms, businesses shut down. And it really demonstrated this like really simple truth that the U.S. economy runs on immigrant labor. Fields went unharvested, construction slowed, restaurants closed.
People couldn't go to work because there's nobody to watch their kids.
Yeah, literally, right? Like, what would the United States do without immigrants? What would the United States do without workers? And that's really what it is. That's really like what International Workers' Day is, is this reminder that we run this country. We run this world, literally. And so like May Day, in 2006, May Day strike, had a profound impact on the politics of the country. And that was thanks to the intervention of the people. And so like, here we are 20 years, almost to the day of the resurgence of May Day in the United States, because other countries have recognized it. But here we are 20 years almost to the day of this resurgence of May Day. And once again, reminding is a nice way to put it, but reminding people of like the importance of immigrants, the importance of workers in general.
An organization.
Yeah.
And being like strategic, thoughtful, tactful, because it wasn't as a second international resolution pointed out, as determined by the conditions of their own country.
Yeah.
So, some countries didn't have anything because they were like, it's just going to invite more repression, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then in the U.S., of course, to get back to one of your questions, like about where it went, the Red Scare, the first Red Scare in the, World War I is really what, when anti-communism became the official religion of the U.S.
Sure.
And it even was after, May 1st, 2006. It wasn't really until another 10 years that the fog of it began to lift, really. Mm-hmm. But here we are. And it's also a reminder that, the law in the state is inherently reactive, right? It's really powerless in the sense that we have the power and it's forced to respond, right? So it's not as if the law was like, okay, workers, you can have strikes and you can have unions. And then we started to have strikes and unions. No, we unionized, we struck, we died, we lost many, many people. And who were slaughtered by the Pinkerton thugs, right? And then we were granted the right, So it's like struggle precedes any right to anything.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly why, calling your, elected representative, I'm not saying one should not do that ever, but like that is a tactic.
Mm-hmm.
But they're only going to do that if we're already on strike anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's for everything, right? Like,
yeah.
If we want to, I was going to say something mean. If we want to, but like, if, people were not like, you know what we should do? We should make it so like Black people and white people can drink from the same water fountain. That sounds like no, like people were in the streets like, hey, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like obviously it's more than just water fountains, but yeah, just like basic human rights were not won because the state wanted to be nice. Like the state doesn't actually care about being nice or care about our feelings or what is the right thing to do. It cares about repression and how can they make the most profit off of our misery. I think that's the nicest way to put it, the most PG way to put it. Yeah, it is reactive. Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, and that's part of why, like Derek said, organizing, right? Because like, if it wasn't for organizations coming together, like it obviously individuals, the consciousness raises and they're like, okay, how can I make a difference? And in reality, like one person by themselves is not going to make a difference. But that one person joining with another person and joining with another person and like those people getting together and putting their thoughts together. One of the first things I learned when joining the party was like, I have great ideas, but like I do.
She does.
But like my ideas are so much better when I'm talking to comrades, right? And when there's more than one voice in the room and more than one frame of thought, and
it becomes our idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Idea. Yeah. And that's really what it's about. Like we're not going to get anywhere individually and by ourselves. And we're not going to get anywhere with a bunch of infighting, right? Like, the Haymarket martyrs were anarchists. And, if you know anything about like organizing, historically anarchists and socialists, maybe don't get along the best, but I don't care about that as long as like, are we trying to win?
Yeah.
And that's what they were trying to do. The Haymarket martyrs were trying to win for the people. And they weren't able to see the fruits of that labor. And many of us won't. But that doesn't mean like our sacrifices go unnoticed or that they don't matter. Because it's, you can kill a revolutionary, but you can't kill a revolution. You can jail a revolutionary, but you can't jail a revolution. And us coming together is always going to be a win.
Yeah. Yeah, just the very fact that we are able to do that amongst all the division that they are, constantly sowing between us. Mm-hmm. I feel like fewer and fewer people are buying it.
Yeah.
I was actually having a conversation with Wayne about this, from a Hot Lamb. And he was like, he was on the same tip. He was like, yeah, he's like, I just don't, it's like, what? Like, what, it just doesn't make any sense to me intuitively, right? And he's older than you and I. Yeah. Right. So you and me, excuse me. If my mother's listening.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah. So, I think that's definitely true. And also like that, we're not going to, like Dani and I are, we're not going to make the revolution. The masses do. And the masses are inherently contradictory. And so the real tough part is to, during that process, work through those contradictions in various different ways, some good, some must be dealt, in a battle. Some things have to be dealt with harshly, but we're not there yet. So don't worry about it, right? We're like the first international time period. So that's why this Friday there will be a general strike, right? Yep. Don't work, don't go to school, don't buy anything together. Because if I just like stay home, that's not a general strike.
No.
I'm not participating in a general strike. I have to go out. I have to participate. Like, okay, maybe I'm unable to like physically leave my house. Mm-hmm. Well, call the center. We'll get you a tablet and you can plug in that way, right? And you can be a part of it here. We'll take you on the march with us, right? So that is to say that everybody has to be involved. And not everybody. We have no illusions. We do not, I mean, maybe it'll happen, but like, I don't think personally that like the entire city of Indianapolis is going to shut down on May 1st, right? I have hopes.
That would be fire.
Yeah, but it's what they call like a stress test or a structural test, or it's just a test, right? I mean, what is a test? You test yourself. You test your enemy. You test your strength. You test your weaknesses. If you play sports,
testing my enemies,
right? You see where the people are at. What we're willing to sacrifice, how far we're willing to go, and luckily, our comrade Rissa is going to join us next to go over the many opportunities for you to get plugged into May Day this weekend, Friday and Saturday included. So, how you feel, Dani?
I feel good. Yeah, I mean, I always enjoy these little segments. I was thinking as we were talking, I was like, I love having guests, but I also just like enjoy talking to Derek about like the people in theory. This isn't really theory. This is literally just talking about things that have happened and how it shapes us today.
That's theory, I think.
Is it?
I think.
All right,
how
Professor
it shapes us
Ford.
today, yeah.
I believe you. I believe you. That makes sense. Okay. But like how it shapes us today. So I feel like this is, I feel like this was good. I feel like this was a good segment, and hopefully listeners take something from it and go talk to people about, what we talked about, what you learned. Also hit us up. Like, I know we put the email out there, but like, I also realized later, I was like, oh man, I just put my little Instagram handle out there. But as long as you're not like weird, hit us up. If you're weird, I'll just block you. But hit us up.
Maybe don't hit Dani up. Maybe hit it up PSL Indianapolis.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Derek is going to help me with my boundaries right now. But yeah, hit up PSL Indianapolis and like, and what did you take from the conversation? What are something that you want to learn about? But I think this was good. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and we would love to hear more from the listeners too. So leave a comment, as you say at the end. But yeah, email the producer, and just don't DM Dani.
No.
But come into the center and let's chop it up about May Day, before May Day, on May Day, after May Day, and let's do it. All right. Well, we'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back to Naptown People's Radio. I'm honored to be joined by my comrade Rissa, who is a social worker involved with Hope Packages, a Liberation Center volunteer, as well as the manager of the Indy Liberation Store, which if you haven't been, you must absolutely go like right now, today.
Yes, right now.
So, Rissa, what's on tap this weekend? You got a busy weekend, right?
Yeah, we actually literally have so much going on. When I was writing the list, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm excited though. On Friday, May 1st, we will be joining workers in solidarity to push back against Trump's billionaire agenda and to celebrate International Workers' Day as well. So we'll be there at 1 p.m. at the State House for a rally. So definitely join us, come out, or organize with other folks. use your voice, be heard. We're super excited for that. And then later that evening, when you're super, super pumped and you want to keep the energy going, come out to the center to our Francesca Dubois Gallery for our first Friday gallery opening, Botanical Bodies, exploring the history and lives of sex workers in Indianapolis. Super, super cool opportunity. And we're right here in Fountain Square. This is like the art cultural hub. So you definitely don't want to miss it. So that's what's going on Friday. Saturday, we got some more stuff happening as well. Are you ready to hear this?
Well, no, because I just want to say that for Friday's show, at least one of the two organizers of it, right,
Yes.
conveners, Nazreen Khan, had a show at our old center, and it was just absolutely magnificent, beautiful, and then gave a talk a couple weeks later that I was blown away the way that she thinks about it. And so I would encourage, everybody to come out to that for sure.
That is so awesome. I was not a part of the center when that happened, so I'll definitely have to make sure I come out and hear that.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah.
Definitely. Saturday, May 2nd, Circle City Sangha will be meeting here for their weekly meditation sessions. They meet at 9 a.m., so definitely come out, get some Zen, feel some grounding for sure. And then later in the afternoon, from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m., we will be continuing our celebration of workers because workers make the world go round, so we should run the world. We're doing a barbecue right back out front. Hopefully it's a really nice day out. We'll have the garage open. We'll have music, food, entertainment, vendors. Definitely come out, be a part of the community. We really want this to be a time for us to also engage with our neighborhood as well and our neighbors. So we are super, super excited to see everyone come out, and we're excited to make some new waves as well.
Nice. And will there be anything for children?
Yes, there will be. There will be some airbrushing, some airbrush tattoos. I believe there will also be face paint. I'm not sure. That is all I know about the children.
All right. Well, I'm sold. So.
But the airbrush tattoos are cool, but I'm biased because my mother's doing those. But so yeah, that's Saturday. Sunday, to kind of close us out for a very busy weekend, we have Emancipatory Motions. They are a yoga session that meets here every week at 6 p.m. So come out, feel stretched and relaxed, and challenge your body, challenge your mind, and kind of send yourself off into the next week. So yeah, that's kind of what we got going on for this weekend. Did I miss anything? I might have.
Well, just your work schedule. So no, I was kidding.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Well, I just wanted to say.
Through all of this, I'll be working.
Yeah,
we'll be open.
The bookstore will be open from 12 to 6, Thursday through Sunday. So definitely come by. And that's just at the front of the center. And so you probably won't want to leave once you come in.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. You'll get so inspired. I just want to keep walking through
Maybe
it.
you'll probably start an organization.
Exactly. Who knows?
All right, cool. Well, thank you so much, Rissa. It's been good having you.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate you.
Of course.
That's it for this episode of Naptown People's Radio. If you found today's discussion useful, pass it on, leave a comment, or show some love by donating at support.pslindianapolis.org and by shopping at indieliberationstore.com or coming in. The road ahead is long, but we walk it together. Study with your comrades, build with your community, and always remember, theory without action is paralysis, but action without theory is chaos. Once again, I'm your host, Derek Ford, here with my comrade and co-host,
Dani Abdullah.
Stay dangerous, stay disciplined, and stay in the struggle.
We say all power to the people. That means that we are our own liberators. We don't depend on nobody else. We depend on ourselves. And we take responsibility for ourselves. And therefore, we step up for our organization. Those that have proven by their actions and their practice that they represent for us. All power to the people in peace.
Collaboration. Like, we act as if there's a scarcity of rights. If gay people get rights, women can't have rights. But that's not true. A victory for one is a victory for all. A thing is the same, you know? And
you talk about people being fearless in the face of whoever there is. They don't care. To the Liberation Center, I would say, this is what we need.